My heart was doing a little dance inside my chest. It was a happy dance, but also a nervous one. For weeks, I had known I was going to Bangalore, not by train, not by bus, but by airplane. It felt like a dream. I had only seen airplanes in pictures or as tiny silver specks high up in the sky. To think that I, a simple person from a small town, would soon be sitting inside one of those magnificent flying machines was almost too much to believe. My grandmother had packed me a small tiffin box with my favorite sweets, telling me they would help if my ears felt funny during the journey. The night before the trip, I could hardly sleep a wink. I kept imagining what it would be like, soaring above the world like a bird. The morning of the flight arrived, bright and full of promise. My excitement was like a pot of milk boiling over. It just couldn't be contained. I checked my small bag at least 10 times to make sure my ticket was safe. My family came to see me off, their faces a mixture of pride and gentle concern. "Be safe," my mother said, her voice soft, "and don't forget to look out of the window." I promised her I would, my mind already picturing the sights I was about to see. The journey to the airport itself felt like an adventure, every passing milestone bringing me closer to the sky. I held on to the feeling of anticipation, a warm and wonderful sensation that made everything seem magical and new. My palms were a little sweaty as I clutched my ticket. Was I ready for this? What if I felt scared high up in the air? So many questions buzzed in my head like little bees. I remembered my grandfather's words. He had once told me that fear is just a shadow, and all you need to do is walk towards the light. His wisdom gave me strength. I told myself that this was an opportunity, a chance to see the world from a different angle. It was a story I would one day tell my own grandchildren. I took a deep breath, smiled, and decided to embrace the butterflies in my stomach. They were not signs of fear, but of an exciting new beginning, a flight into the unknown. The thought of Bangalore was also very exciting. I'd heard so many stories about this famous city. People called it the Garden City because of its beautiful parks and trees. Others called it the Silicon Valley of India because of all the big computer companies there. For me, it was a city of stories, a place where new things happened every day. I was not just going on a flight. I was going to a city that was alive with dreams and possibilities. This journey was more than just travel from one place to another. It was a step into a bigger world, a world I had only read about in books and newspapers until now. The airplane was my chariot to this new land. The airport was like a small city in itself. It was so big and bustling with people from all over. Everyone was walking quickly, pulling their suitcases on wheels that made a soft, rumbling sound on the shiny floor. There were so many bright lights and big signs pointing in different directions. I felt a little lost at first, like a small fish in a very large pond. But soon, the organized chaos started to make sense. I followed the signs for departures and found the counter for my airline. The lady at the counter had a very kind smile. She took my ticket, weighed my big bag, and gave me something called a boarding pass. She said, "Have a pleasant flight," and her warm words made me feel much calmer. After the check-in, I had to go through security. It was all very new to me. I put my small handbag and my tiffin box on a tray that moved on a belt and disappeared into a machine. For a moment, I was worried about my sweets, but they came out safely on the other side. Then came the most wonderful part. I walked towards a huge glass window, and there they were. The airplanes. They were not tiny specks anymore. They were giant, magnificent birds of metal resting on the ground. They were much bigger than I had ever imagined. Some were being cleaned, others were being loaded with bags, and one was slowly moving, getting ready to fly. It was a sight I will never forget. I found a chair near the window and just sat there watching the airplanes. Each one had a different name and color on its tail. Little vehicles were buzzing around them like busy ants. People in uniforms were walking with purpose, making sure everything was perfect for the journey. I saw passengers climbing the steps into an airplane, one by one, disappearing inside the giant machine. I wondered where they were all going. Perhaps to Delhi, or Kolkata, or even a different country far away. The airport was a place of hellos and goodbyes, a gateway to 1,000 different stories. I felt so small, yet so connected to this big, wide world. Finally, an announcement came over the speakers. It was for my flight to Bangalore. My heart skipped a beat. It was time. I gathered my things and joined a queue of people. Everyone seemed so calm, as if flying in an airplane was the most normal thing in the world. I held my boarding pass tightly, the piece of paper that was my key to the sky. As I walked down the corridor that connected the building to the airplane, I felt a surge of pure joy. I was about to step into the sky. The adventure was truly beginning now, and all my earlier nervousness had flown away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of wonder. Stepping inside the airplane was like entering a different world. It was a long, neat tube with rows of comfortable-looking seats on both sides. A very polite lady in a smart uniform, an air hostess, greeted me with a warm namaste. She helped me find my seat, which was right next to the window, just as I had hoped. I carefully placed my handbag in the compartment above and sat down, my fingers immediately tracing the cool surface of the small, thick window. The seat was soft, and there was a little screen on the back of the seat in front of me. Everything was so clean and new. I felt like a very important person on a very important mission. Soon, all the passengers were seated, and the airplane door was closed with a soft thud. The air hostess explained the safety rules, and I listened very carefully. Then, I felt a gentle rumble. The airplane started moving slowly on the ground. It turned and taxied for a while, and then it stopped. I could hear the sound of the engines getting louder and louder. It was a powerful, roaring sound. I held my breath and gripped the armrest. The airplane started moving forward, faster and faster. I looked out of the window and saw the ground rushing by. And then, I felt a gentle lift. We were off the ground. We were flying. It was the most magical feeling in the world. The houses and trees below started to look smaller and smaller, like toys in a doll's house. Soon, the roads looked like thin ribbons, and the fields looked like a patchwork quilt of green and brown. It was all so beautiful. After a while, the airplane climbed higher, and we flew into the clouds. Outside my window, there was nothing but a vast, white, fluffy carpet of clouds. It looked so soft, as if I could step out and walk on it. The sun was shining brightly up here, above the clouds. It felt like we were in a secret world, a peaceful kingdom in the sky, far away from the noise and hurry of the world below. I finally opened my tiffin box and had a sweet. It tasted like happiness. The person sitting next to me was an elderly gentleman with kind eyes. He saw me looking out of the window with so much wonder. He smiled and asked, "Is this your first time flying?" I nodded shyly. He then started telling me stories of his own travels. He had been to many cities for his work. He told me about Bangalore, about its lovely weather and the delicious food at the small eateries. We talked for a long time. He was so easy to talk to. Meeting him made the journey even more special. It reminded me that a journey is not just about the places you see, but also about the people you meet along the way. After what felt like a very short time, the captain's voice came on the speaker. He announced that we would soon be starting our descent into Bangalore. I felt a little sad that the journey through the clouds was coming to an end, but a new excitement took its place. I was about to see Bangalore for the first time. I pressed my face against the window again, eager to catch the first glimpse of the city. The airplane slowly came down through the clouds, and suddenly, the world below appeared again. But this time, it was not my small town. It was a sprawling, endless city. It stretched as far as my eyes could see. From the sky, Bangalore looked like a giant, intricate map. There were clusters of tall buildings that shimmered in the afternoon sun. There were also so many green patches everywhere. Now I understood why they called it the Garden City. Even from high above, I could see the lushness of the trees that lined the roads and filled the parks. The roads were filled with tiny cars that looked like colorful little insects moving in neat lines. I saw a large lake that sparkled like a jewel. The city was a mix of gray concrete and vibrant green, a place where nature and progress lived side by side. It was a breathtaking sight. The airplane continued to descend, and the details on the ground became clearer. I could see individual houses with red-tiled roofs, swimming pools that looked like small blue puddles, and a cricket stadium. The feeling of landing was very different from taking off. I felt the wheels touch the ground with a small bump, and then the airplane slowed down quickly. We had arrived. We were safely on the ground in Bangalore. I let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding. A wave of relief and accomplishment washed over me. I had done it. I had flown in an airplane and crossed the sky to reach a new city. As I stepped out of the airplane and felt the cool Bangalore air on my face, I felt a sense of immense gratitude. The trip was so much more than just a journey. It was an adventure that had opened my eyes. It taught me that the world is big and beautiful, and that new experiences are waiting around every corner if we are brave enough to seek them. It taught me that people are kind, and that a simple conversation can make a journey memorable. This flight was a special chapter in the book of my life, a story of conquering a small fear and discovering a great joy. The memory of the fluffy clouds and the view from the window will stay with me forever.